Hello everyone. I thought tonight I would try playing O mio babbino caro once more, and this time after I play it, show you some of the ideas that I use, that I'm trying to use to make it sound more musical. And hopefully it'll give you some ideas and an incentive to want to learn the piece, because this is a good arrangement and it's fun to play. So I'll give it a try, and then I'll explain a few ideas that I'm working on in it. So one of the ideas that I feel is helping me a little bit is to try and feel a kind of a lilt between the first half of the bar and the second half of the bar, because when those lilts balance each other, I don't rush as much, and I don't want any rushing in this piece. So it's very well written that way, as far as 3/8 for the first half of the bar, 3/8 for the second half. That's 6/8 time, which is compound time. It's like 2/4 time, two main beats to the bar. In other words, the first half of the bar and the second half of the bar. And they have to, over to the first again, and they have to balance each other. Now, the second thing is the studying of the left hand, because it's like an Alberti bass, like if you go, that kind of thing. So if you can stack the notes like a snowman for the first half of the bar and compare them with the stack for the second half of the bar, it's useful in knowing what to prepare for with your hand shape for the next half of a bar, so that you're not rushing, because you have to be prepared for the whole half bar, not just the first couple of notes into that half bar. So what I'm trying to think of then in the first bar is, what is the triad? And it's just the piece is in G major. There's a triad on every degree of the scale. So tonic, supertonic, mediant, subdominant, tonic, supertonic, mediant, gotta have the F sharp, subdominant, dominant, submediant, leading note, tonic. Try it again. So this first bar is just that tonic triad. G, skip the A, B, skip the C, D. So it's in root position. So that's what it is. So if I'm aware that that's the notes I'm playing, G, A, B, C, D, and I'm going 5, 3, 1, then it's easy enough to just break it up and realize it's going all the way up to the top, and then it's going back one, back up to the top, back one. And then the second half of the bar just repeats that totally. So it's, and then it repeats. Now, when it repeats on the very last note of the bar, I need to put, instead of my third finger, I need to put my second finger on there, on the B, so that it's a smoother transition over to the octave below, to the B below, because it's the same triad, only it's not in root position anymore. Root position is line, 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 or space, space, space. And so when you go first inversion, you bring the bottom note up an octave. So it's, and when you go second inversion, you bring the bottom note up an octave. So it's that. And so when you look at the second bar, you see that the B is on the bottom, the middle note of the triad. So it's first inversion. The piece starts in root position, then it moves to not root position, an octave lower, but first inversion. So when I'm aware of that, I already know what the notes are. It's the tonic triad of G major, so it's GBD. G, A, B, C, D. Just it starts on the B. So then I know what broken chord I'm playing. And then I move up to second inversion in the second half of the second bar. So it's root position twice. Only second finger on that B the second time around, last note of the bar, so that I can reach down to 5 on B. And now instead of putting the 5 down on B, I put the 5 on the D. So I put the 3 on the D. So I'm going first inversion in the second bar. And that's the fingering for 5, 3, 1. That's standard fingering for first inversion of a chord. So now, but the second half of the bar, I bring it up to second inversion. And that's standard fingering for second inversion, 5, 2, 1. But you see, throughout that whole line, it's just those 3 notes. That's all it is. And you write in the fingering on a single note that's going to remind you to shift to that new position. And you write the name of the note in on your score. And then you automatically go there so much smoother, and it's not a problem then. So now the next thing that I do when I'm trying to think of it as musical is I'm going to flop right through to the floor on that G, but I don't want to play it harshly. I want to sink in gently, and I want to, it's like a cat or a cow's tongue licking on a block of salt. It's got to go out and do this. So as you flop through to the floor and you depress the key, whether you depress it only part way or whether you go all the way down, depends on the kind of sound you want. But I want a gentle sound, so I want to sink in gently. So I go out, in, and draw. And then I put a pause on that note. I kind of linger on it. Because if I don't, it doesn't have the same emotional impact as, but I want pianissimo, so it's got to have a snap to it, but just so gentle. It's depressing it halfway. To be sure to go quieter. It's called intonation. Hear that note die down for 3/8 and then match how quiet it got. Not that loud. 3, 1, and be gentle on it. Because if I'm not, it becomes, and it doesn't say anything. So get to this bar, there's triads in the right hand on each beat, each of the 3, each of the 8ths that it happens on. And so I want to go out with my hand like that as I flop through with my wrist to the floor and take hold of it like catching a baseball or something. Not that I was any good at ball. I used to run to the far end of the field and hope the ball never came there. But when I'm dropping in here, I've got to be able to go out and grip the key like that. And then voice the top note. So, but I want to hear the harmony, so I need the inner voices as well. It's that gushy sound. voicing the top. If I don't, it doesn't speak. But I can't rush like that. It's like Adele Marcus said, if music doesn't sing or speak, it doesn't communicate anything. So you always want to be singing from your heart and your soul and your whole body. And then voice at the left is balanced to it and not overpowering, but it's even. It's like the Alberti bass. It can't clang out over top of the melody. It's got to be kept under. So each note you flop through, you just depress it part way and barely hear it, and it'll be plenty enough as long as you link it to the next note. Crawl the weight, like as if you're underneath and then you draw that weight over to the next, even though it's not as much weight as if it was big. So I hope that gives you some ideas and some incentive to want to learn this piece. I'll show you, I'll bring the page close to the iPad so that you can see what those first few notes are, in case you don't have this particular arrangement of it. It doesn't tell me who arranged it here, but anyway, I'll try putting this up in front of the camera and let you see what it looks like. So, and then there's that line there, and then the second page is over here. So you might want to print that out if you want to learn the piece. And you won't have any regrets spending time on that music, because it's just such a beautiful piece. And I hope you enjoy practicing it. Have a good night now.